This is Evan Talks podcast, where we talk and share our mental health journey every other Monday. Our goal is to break the stigma of mental health and to help people along the way. Subscribe and be a part of this awesome new journey. Hello and welcome to this surprise additional episode of Evan Talks, episode 7. I was planning on doing this episode after next week's episode, which was going to be with David Crow, my boss, and it is still going to be next week. That episode has been recorded and edited and ready to go. But this week, I kind of wanted to touch base on this whole fact that lockdown's been extended for most of the world. And a lot of us are probably now struggling with the idea of being locked indoors or locked into our homes for the next 3 weeks. Definitely not 7 weeks. Jeez, did I just panic, everyone? Next 3 weeks at least. I've been getting a lot of requests or messages from people on Instagram and on Facebook and even on my Twitter that they want to know what I'm doing in order to help my mental health during this time. And to be honest with you, I'm definitely not an expert because I've been struggling just as much, if not more, than most people have been themselves. So doing this episode and doing a bit of research to get back to people has been very helpful for myself. And this is one of the benefits of probably doing the podcast, is that people are looking for answers, and I kind of know where the sort of good places to go to find some answers are, especially when it comes to the world of mental health. So I've done some research, and all the advice I'm going to share with you guys now is my own take on advice that the powers that be have put together. So I went to Mind's websites where they've got some great stuff, especially around COVID-19, but also the World Mental Health Organization. They've posted some great advice and some great tips. So I'm just really consolidating all the sort of stuff I've seen on social media through those sorts of places, as well as doing some digging around the great thing that is the internet. I've put together 10 points that are going to help you hopefully around dealing with this sort of mental health challenge that we've got when we are in self-isolation or quarantine or lockdown, however you want to call it. Let's talk through these 10 points I've put together for you. So anxiety is a big part of what we're going through, but if you are somebody who's suffering with some sort of OCD, let it be mild or severe OCD, all the talk about washing your hands could be really messing with you and really making your condition that much worse. So think about what you can do to reduce this impact on you by simple things like don't keep reading the same advice about hand washing or personal hygiene during this time. It's kind of, we all know what we need to be doing now, and it's not worth rereading it because that's going to just enforce your anxiety and make it that much worse. Let other people know you're struggling. So maybe if in your household you've got people that know that you struggle with anxiety, maybe, or OCD, maybe remind them that you don't need to be reminded about washing your hands because you do it so much anyway. Try breathing exercises to help cope and feel more in control. Breathing exercises I'm going to mention a few times during this because it's a good way to just kind of press reset on your body and your mind. So if you don't know, I've got a breathing exercise available on my podcasts, which you can access at any time and go through and just work your way through it and keep going. Once you've done those exercises a few times, you probably won't need help to do it. You can kind of talk yourself through it. But that podcast is available and that episode is available for you guys to access for breathing exercises. Set limits to how long you're going to wash your hands for, and maybe set rules. So after you do something, you're going to wash your hands, or maybe so many times per day you're going to wash your hands, and kind of restrict yourself to that, managing that anxiety that way. Plan something to do after washing your hands. So this could help distract you once you've washed your hands so that you don't feel the need to go back and wash your hands again. This is I don't want to say this is very rare for people to have OCD like this. I've definitely noticed my washing hand routine was always good, but it's definitely upped since all of this came out, and there's so many adverts about washing your hands So just keep that in mind when you are talking to people. And if they are somebody who you know has some form of OCD, maybe don't keep reminding them to wash their hands. Number 2 is have a routine. Plan how you spend your time. It might help to actually write this down on a piece of paper or a whiteboard if you've got one, just to kind of schedule out your day a little bit better and kind of keep yourself structured. I think a lot of us are worried that once we go back to normal, which who knows is what that's going to look like, but once we go back to normal, we might struggle to get back into routine. So if you keep some form of routine, even if it's just your early morning routine, so wake up at the same sort of time as you used to for work, and then do your same sort of morning routine. I found that's very helpful. Thankfully, I'm still working 4 days a week, so I am able to keep that sort of routine, albeit I am working from home. If you aren't happy with your normal routine, this is a good opportunity to maybe hit reset on that and develop a new routine. And just work on that and put that down rather than writing down your old routine. Put down a new routine, and then that way you can create something new. So you've got a positive way of going forward once we come out of the other side of this, because we are going to come out of the other side of this. If you are living alone, like myself, you might need to kind of schedule your activities a little bit better and plan on different days, having different things to do. So I found that the days that I'm working are fine. It's the days that I'm not working, so weekends and that sort of thing, I need to put a bit more structure into my day. And maybe that is helped by setting timers on my phone so that I only do something for so long. So I spend quite a bit of time playing video games because that's the kind of guy I am. And what I've realized is actually if I don't set a timer for maybe 2 hours or whatever, I'm going to end up playing video games come 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be going for a good solid 18 hours of a day. So just bear that in mind and maybe set routines and timers for your day if you are living alone. If you live with others, maybe agree a household routine. So maybe set up something that you are all comfortable with. So on certain days you're going to do certain activities, and make sure everyone in the household has some say in that. Please remember to try and respect each other's privacy and give each other some space when you are living with other people. I mean, as much as I'm struggling with living alone right now, I can imagine it must be a little bit harder for those houses that are maybe quite full with kids and family members. So it might be more difficult for you guys to set some times and some periods of time for being alone, because that's important. Just as important as being around other people, being alone is quite important too. Number 3, connect with people. Now, I've been pretty rubbish at the beginning of this self-isolation quarantine thing, in that I've not really been good at making plans to connect with people. Thankfully, I've got some really good friends and they've made plans with me to connect, so that's been helpful. But if you don't have good friends like I've got, or your friends aren't as organized as mine, you might need to do this yourself, and you might need to arrange to plan video chats or groups that you would normally see, plan to meet up. And even if it's just like a 5-minute catch up, those are great to do. But you can also arrange just to do normal phone calls or text messages and send videos to each other or whatever it is. Voice notes on WhatsApp are my favorite thing to do, although I think that a lot of people are quite sick of hearing my voice these days with the podcast, with voice notes, with videos, with everything that I'm doing. But remember that people still need their privacy, so just bear in mind if somebody isn't answering their phone, it might be because they are taking some time for themselves in this difficult time. And don't expect people to be available. I feel like at the moment everyone's expecting you to be available because we all know that we should be at home, so everyone's assuming that we're always available. And I think a lot of us are probably finding ourselves even busier now that we're going through this sort of self-isolation process. If you're worried about loneliness, there are things you could do in terms of connecting with people or staying connected with people. So although you might not want to message, it might be helpful to have some pictures up of people that you care about, family members, all that sort of thing, so you can reflect on them and also remind yourself that you're not necessarily alone forever. It's just for this period right now, which again, last night I had a bit of a lonely night and I was feeling a little bit sorry for myself. So I needed to remind myself that actually, you know what, this isn't going to be forever. This is going to be for right now. And maybe I can use this opportunity to maybe change how I do social interaction going forward. Again, it's giving you some good time to reflect. If you do find that the house is quite quiet, put on some music or maybe listen to a chatty radio station or podcast. I know this really good one called Evan Talks. It's just a guy talking to people or talking to himself on some occasions. Maybe just put that on in the background. I just have random video YouTube channels that I subscribe to. I just have those on play during the course of the day if I'm feeling like the house is a little bit lonely, even if I'm doing something else at the same time. Number 4, keep active and get vitamin D. Now, for those of you that know me, I am not good at this. I am not good at keeping active. So it is difficult for me to keep active. But try and build some activity into your daily routine. If possible, exercising at home. So it could be as simple as doing some cleaning and housework. I remember when I was on Slimming World, they would actually give you extra points for your day if you spent so many minutes doing housework. So that's a good way to earn some extra eating points if you're on Slimming World. I think it's the same on Weight Watchers. For anyone that is on that, let me know, and then that way I can let me know in the comments. That's what I was going to say. Let me know in the comments. So you could dance. I mean, heck, we all could do with a bit of dancing in our lives. So find some good jams and dance, or just simple as going up and down the stairs. If you've got stairs in your home, going up and down the stairs, maybe do it 3 or 4 times in a day for no particular reason, or 3 or 4 times in a row. There's also some great videos on YouTube for online exercises that you can do at home. Joe Wicks is doing PE for kids, which is great. But I think he's also got some good workout videos for yourself at home if you're an adult. And then also there are some YouTube videos on seated exercises. So if you maybe don't do well with your legs, or if you've got bad circulation or whatever it may be, try and do some seated exercises. Great stuff on YouTube for that too. Getting vitamin D can be very tough, but it is important to expose yourself to fresh air and daylight. So remember to open up your windows and your curtains, your blinds, whatever you've got in your house, and let fresh airs in. Let windows in. That's not going to work, is it? Guys, this one is going to be so badly put together because I'm just going to talk through it regardless of how many mistakes I make. So that's just what you've got to look forward to for the next at least 20 minutes. But also try and arrange a comfortable space to sit where you can look outside a window at trees or the sky, or watch birds or other animals. I've kind of moved some of the furniture in my very small living room so that I can look outside and just sit. I've got a little table there, and I can just look outside and watch the green trees and the blue skies when it is blue, like it is today. A little bit of a scattering of clouds, but it's cool. It's all good. Opening windows and getting some fresh air in is a very important thing to do. So whenever I'm in a room, I open at least one window. I live in a flat, so I open at least one window in that room that I'm in if I'm going to be in there for any period of time. The only time I don't do that is when I'm recording. Road noise is a big issue. But also you could have like natural sounds playing. So there's great apps for that sort of thing. So it could be just sounds of birds, oceans, waves. I know there's some friends of mine and family in South Africa listen, and some of them are so close to the ocean they could probably just open a window and have the ocean. So jealous. I suppose that's the same here because we are on an island. But anyway, number 5 is making time for relaxing and being creative. So it's good to be productive and do things during the course of the day to fill your day and have a routine. But also when you're doing that, making sure that you're putting some time aside to be relaxed and to be creative. So great opportunity to do arts and crafts, drawings, painting. I've seen loads of people on social media opening up the sketchbook for the first time in years and doing some sketching. I'm sure that must be massively helpful. But then there are opportunities to do some sewing, crafting, upcycling, DIY. This afternoon I'm painting this very small parts of my kitchen that need to be painted, but it's going to be that finicky in between bits. Can you guys tell that I haven't spoken to people for a while? So I'm just talking to you guys like you're my friends. So hello friends. So again, mindfulness is going to help you with relaxation. So breathing exercises. There are some great apps too. So Headspace, Calm. We've mentioned them before on the podcast. Also, Happy Place have introduced some mindfulness exercises. So that's Fern Cotton, great podcast about like happiness, well-being, mental health, all that sort of good stuff. She's my favorite one to listen to, and actually was kind of the inspiration for me to start doing my podcast, as well as people telling me that I should be talking about mental health a bit more. You could also try writing, yoga, meditation, whatever it is. Guys, just try something new. I mean, on the internet today, you can find so many good things to try in your own home and work through. So this is a great opportunity to do that. Number 6, keep stimulated. So keep your brain occupied and challenged. Set time in your routine to do this too, so you can quickly see if you write down a routine, you're going to fill up your space in your routine quite quickly with all these good ideas and good things to be doing. Keeping stimulated could be as simple as reading some books, magazines, articles, again, listening to podcasts. Evan Talks, I've got your back, people. Watch films, do puzzles. There are also some websites that you could do free courses. So I didn't know about this until I started doing this research. So you could do some free courses on Future Learn. I'm going to put their website's details in. But if you just Google Future Learn or Open Learn is part of Open University, and it's their free courses that they offer. There are some great things on there, like loads to do. And they're quite open and honest about how much time you're going to need to allocate if you're going to finish it in a 4-week period. So if we've got 3 weeks left of self-isolation, you can find some courses to do and block out the time to do that too. Just have a look, do some research, free courses. You'll be able to find loads of things to do. Don't feel trapped, again, is number 7. So if you're feeling a little bit claustrophobic and trapped, simple things like opening windows, spending time looking outside. So if you've got a doorstep or a garden, why not just sit outside for a bit? Even if the weather's not great, just make some time to sit outside and change the rooms that you're in regularly. So I've essentially got 4 rooms in my flat. So I mix it up during the course of the day. I might start in the living room and the kitchen, then go into my little spare room / home office, and then move into my bedroom to watch a bit of TV in there, although that's not good for you either, apparently, but it's helping me right now. And then I go outside for a bit of a walk and come back in and mix it all up again. So mixing up the rooms that you spend your time in during the course of the day will help you to feel not so claustrophobic and trapped. Number 8 is limit your news and social media intake. For me, this has been a game changer. Week 1 and 2 of self-isolation were hard because I kept getting news pop up on my mobile phone, news pop up on my computer, telling me about how bad things are, and that really made me worse. So I turned off all my notifications around news on my mobile phone, and I also turned off the notifications on my computer, which popped up in the corner just giving me updates on how many people had died and how bad things were. Changing that and removing that really did help me. Also, be mindful of what news you are taking in. So if it's news on social media, just check those sources before you take it too seriously. I know that there were some voice notes going around on WhatsApp and on Facebook about theories and what to do, advice from a friend of a friend who was a nurse or a doctor. Just bear in mind what news you're taking in and actually double check those sources. So maybe only focus on the government websites that you've got, but also reliable newspapers or news sources that you've got. Remembering that the news is still trying to sell the news. They are going to make it sound worse than maybe it is. So just bear that in mind when you are taking in this information. I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed with the news that you are getting. Also, when you are on social media, get out of those comments and stop scrolling. Maybe set time limits for how long you're going to be on social media. It is difficult for me because that's where I let you guys know when I'm doing new episodes and maybe share advice, which I'm going to try and be better at. But bear in mind that when you are on social media, maybe limit your times. So if I'm just scrolling or if I'm just going to catch up with what's going on with people that I care about, I'm going to set a little timer, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most for that little run. My timer app on my phone has been a godsend for me right now. So making sure that you are doing that will kind of reduce that. Also, leaving your phone in other rooms that you're not necessarily going to be on or be in, also helps. So I leave my phone on charge in my bedroom while I'm doing stuff in the living room, so I don't get that urge to do that natural scrolling while I'm watching TV or while I'm doing something else. Just little things like that have helped me. Number 9, don't add pressure to yourself. That is what I'm really, really bad at. I make myself feel like I need to be productive every day. So when I have lost a good 3 or 4 days over a course of 3 weeks to video gaming, I feel bad because that's not necessarily productive. I'm not really going to have anything to show for it after I've finished that game. It does make me feel bad, but at the same time, you need time to just do what you want to do to kind of take your mind off things. So don't feel pressure to be productive every day. Remember that on social media, people are going to be posting all the good stuff they're doing whilst in lockdown or self-isolation. So remember that only people are showing their best selves on social media. I do like how some of the friends that I've got on Facebook and Instagram are posting just average photos of themselves. Let's show a little bit more of really how we are doing so that we can encourage other people that maybe they're not alone if they are feeling like not doing their makeup every day. I know I struggle with doing my makeup every day. True story. That quarantine hair of mine is going strong. Really, really not going strong at all. I am contemplating shaving it off. Just FYI, people. It is going to happen, I think, eventually. If this carries on much longer. Remember that people aren't posting days spending on their sofa and taking time to reflect. We all need to recharge, so it's okay if you want to do that too. Number 10. I feel like I've missed one out, so please let me know if I have. I don't think I have, actually. No, I haven't. Number 10. Reach out. I mean, if you're having a bad day, reach out and let somebody know because you are alone, or even if you're just reaching out to somebody in your household and saying, you know what, today I'm struggling, so can you kind of give me some more space, or just bear in mind that I'm not angry with you, or whatever it may be. I mean, for couples in this period, I don't know how you're doing, but I admire you for just going through this and staying strong, because as much as I struggle with being alone, I would struggle. This would put my relationship at a test, this whole process. Just bear that in mind, that if you are going through this and you are in a household filled with other people, just give yourself a pat on the back for making it this far and being strong. Also, remember that there are people that are out there alone at this time who don't enjoy their own company. On good days, I enjoy my own company, but there are people that don't enjoy their own company and they rely heavily on being around other people to get through the day. So I think those people are probably struggling a lot more than most of us. So just bear that in mind. And if you know that you've got somebody in your life who maybe is like that, who is constantly out and about doing things with other people because otherwise they would be alone, maybe reach out to them, maybe give them a call, maybe give them a FaceTime chat, whatever it may be, just to reassure them that they're not alone forever. It's just for right now that we're going through this and we are alone. And I think that is all my advice. So those are my top tips. I'm going to just run through them again quickly for you. Number 1, hand washing anxiety. If you are anxious about it, maybe set yourself some rules and some guidelines. Stay positive and remind those people that maybe are reminding you too much about washing your hands that you've got it. You're on top of it. They need to focus on themselves. Number 2, have a routine. Plan how you're going to spend your day. Stick to a routine. Make sure that you're setting alarms and timers to keep yourself on track if you need to. Number 3 is connect. So take the opportunity to connect with old friends. Maybe message them if you've got numbers and you haven't been in touch with them, just to say, hey, just checking if this is still your number. Hope you're doing okay. All that sort of good stuff. I got a message from somebody the other day and they must have known that I was having a bad day because it was exactly what I needed. It was just a silly little video message just to remind me that they're there, and they probably just hit forward. But that hitting forward really helped me on that day. So thank you to them. They know who they are. They listen to my podcast. So thank you very much. That really did help me on that day. If you're worried about loneliness or anything like that, set up things and activities that you can do like quiz nights. There's virtual dating's been a thing now, which is cool. And even online Pictionary. I got invited to a quiz night on a Friday night. For the last 2 weeks, that's been a game changer for me. I've met some new people, laughed a heck of a lot, and maybe drunk a bit too much. But that's been a game changer. So number 3 is connect. Keep active and get vitamin D is number 4. Open windows. Keep active could be simple things like cleaning the house, doing the vacuuming, doing all that sort of stuff. That is as simple as it is. Number 5, making time to relax and be creative. So when you're planning your routine, make sure you plan time to be creative. Maybe try a new hobby. Again, there's some useful videos on YouTube about learning how to paint or draw. Have a look at those. I haven't done any of those, so I haven't put any links in, but I know they are a thing. So prove me wrong. And also mindfulness. Do mindfulness exercises, mindful breathing, all that sort of good stuff. Number 6 is keep stimulated, and that could be learning something new. So have a look at Future Learn or Open Learn for some free courses. There are loads of apps to help you do that too. Number 7, don't feel trapped. If you are feeling trapped, it could be as simply as opening a door, opening a window, allowing some fresh air in, changing up your scenery, move around the house, have different rooms to go to. That is as simple as it can be. Number 8, limit your news and social media intake. I'm all about this. Turn off your news notifications if they're stressing you out, and limit yourself to how much time you are spending on social media. Number 9, don't add pressure to yourself. Keep it straightforward. Remember that people are only posting the best selves on social media, so don't put pressure on yourself to do what everyone else is doing and experiencing at this time. Don't make it harder for yourself. I've been talking about painting my kitchen for the last 3 weeks. Today I'm going to do it though. I'm not putting pressure on myself, but I'm choosing today to do that. Number 10, reach out. If you're not feeling good, reach out, talk to somebody. Remember that there are other people that may be going through this alone, so they might need you to be that person to reach out and support them through this. Don't be afraid. If you are listening to my podcast and you haven't ever spoken to me before, but you're feeling like you need to reach out, drop me a message, because I'll appreciate it, and it'll give me someone to speak to, because hey, I live alone. Times get lonely. So reach out if you feel the need to. Guys, those are my top 10 tips for dealing with self-isolation and your mental health. These top 10 tips have not come from my great mind alone. They have definitely come from reliable sources such as Mind Charity, Mental Health Organisation. The government website also has some great advice. The NHS website also has some great advice about dealing with your mental health or keeping your mental health well when you are going through self-isolation, quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. Guys, I've tried to keep this episode as upbeat as I can, and I'll be honest with you, I've nearly knocked over a few things because my hand movements have been epic. So thank you very much for joining me for this episode. Next week there is going to be another episode. I'm not going to get this wrong because it is actually happening. Next week there is another episode with my good friend and my boss, David Crow, who sat down with me several weeks ago now in a hotel room, and we talked about mental health and how he's found it dealing with or managing somebody who has got mental health issues. That person was me, obviously, that he has to manage and deal with. That episode is still going to come to you next week as planned. I just thought I would slot in an extra episode this week, considering everything that's going on in the world. Guys, I just want to thank you all one more time for listening, for enjoying the podcast, and for sending me messages about it, because it has been great getting your feedback, getting your messages, and I just really, really do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and use these 10 tips. And if you've got tips of your own, why not share them with me, and I can share them with the community on Instagram. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to go and do some painting now. Thank you for listening to Evan Talks, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and share it with your friends and family. All the links to the topics are on the socials, and if you want to talk and share, please get in touch. Be kind to yourself and each other until the next time.